women's work, which is often quite devalued. And so you get this too posh to wash, too clever to care, which is one of those things will always set me off. So do feel free to poke the bear with that one.
So mental health nursing, it's a statutory position. It comes with a lot of responsibility and
Yeah,
obligation, and there's a high level of qualification and training, right?
yeah. So
Yeah.
3 years BSc, or else you do a 2 year PG dip or a 2 year master's course. So that's the academic level changes, but you all have the same registration.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
people may be surprised that there's a professor of nursing. I mean, sort of, is that a new thing, or have you
I
lot
think
been around for a while?
Oh yeah, we've been around for ages. I think what's interesting about you have these public conversations about nursing all the time,
Yeah.
and it's led. I think there's a certain political agenda behind it, and I think as well because most nurses are women still. We have about 10% of men are nurses, or 10% of nurses are men. That's a better way of putting it. In mental health, that goes up to about 40%. So we're pretty much gender neutral, really, in
Yeah.
mental health. But different people specialize in different areas and are called or imagine themselves doing different types of jobs, I think. So in adult, which has 10% men, men tend to be in sort of surgery theatres and A&E. So they're kind of like emergency type of stuff. But I think a lot of that's to do with society, how we see ourselves and how we think about caring. But also there is something about women's work, which is often quite devalued. And so you get this too posh to wash, too clever to care, which is one of those things will always set me off. So do feel free to poke the bear with that one. Because why on earth wouldn't you want your nurse to be smart and caring? When did we divide people into people who could think and people who could do? You need people to be able to bring all those things together. And for me, the great joy in nursing is being able to use my smarts and my practical skills to help. So a job that was just intellectual wouldn't satisfy me, and a job that was just physical wouldn't satisfy me, and also wouldn't answer the nature of the problem because people aren't one thing or the other. We're all everything all the time.
And I've learned a long time because I've been practicing probably about the same amount of time as you. And my entry into profession was via an NHS
Mm-hmm.
ward. It was
Mm.
in forensic as well.
Yeah.
And so high levels of competence and responsibility and public safety issues and all that sort of stuff. And I learned within seconds that not to underestimate the nursing staff and I went in with the same cultural prejudices that
Yeah,
everybody
people do. Yeah.
really,
And it,
carried all that stuff. And there were male nurses there and female nurses there. But my experience was the mental health nurses I worked with were highly educated, highly
yeah,
intelligent, and also
yeah,
willing to roll up their sleeves and muck
yeah,
in.
yeah, I
And
think
that
so.
was great. That was
Mm,
exactly what was needed, really.
mm,
And
mm,
other people were holding these sort of weird professional boundaries, they called them, but
mm.
actually I just thought they were a bit work shy.
I couldn't comment. That sounds like an ecumenical matter.
Yeah, you're not getting very political of you. That's why you got to the heights you're in.
The dizzying heights. Oh, the dizzying heights.
Thank you for that because I think it's really important. And I think the issues as well, definitely about the values we place on men
Yeah.
and
Go
differential
on. Yeah. Yeah.
structural differences are
Yeah.
absolutely correct, aren't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah, and it worries me because I don't think it's a radical thing to say, but men are human beings and they're all different and
Yeah,
they have different needs and different skills. And when you say, "Oh, you can only be a bricklayer," or "You can only do," you're like, what nonsense! Let human beings flourish. Get out of their
yes,
way.
yeah.
That's how
I'm
I see
well,
it.
I'm of the generation. I remember
Mm,
having a conversation with my father. I was peeling some potatoes
mm,
back in the day when we peeled potatoes as opposed to
mm,
just wash them.
mm,
Uh, and I was about to boil them, and he was quite shocked. And I said, he said, "What are you doing, son?" And I said, "I'm peeling some potatoes." Why?
mm.
I'm genuinely confused.
Yeah, because
Uh,
the
I'm
skin
hungry.
come with the skin on.
I'm hungry, Dad.
Yeah,
He literally very seriously said, "You don't do that. Women do that for you." And that was the culture I was brought up in, and
yeah.
that changed in the 70s.
Not
And
changed that
I,
much.
I think it has a bit, and I
Yeah,
feel really grateful for those changes.
yeah, yeah,
I feel really grateful that there have been more options and choices for me. And when
yeah.
I talk to younger men, uh,
Mm,
I think that they also are sort of in a world now where they're not necessarily going to want to be um, pushed into small boxes which define them too much. And I think younger men are struggling with this issue much more than before,
Yeah.
and trying to take it on. And I think it's also reflective, this issue about oppression uh,
Mm.
is reflected in current stats around violence, male violence towards women, the prison population,
Yeah.
the percentage of, as you know, the percentage of the prison population is something like 98% of men.
Yep.
80% have two or more defined mental health conditions.
Yeah.
That's the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they
And if
are
you don't come in with them, you'll get them in there for sure.
very definitely, and so will the staff who
Yeah.
are working in it.
Yeah.
Are exposed to all sorts of trauma-inducing issues. And
Yes.
I literally had a conversation with the governor of Grendon the other day. They were on my show, and one of the
Mm.
prison officers. Grendon is the UK's only therapeutic prison.
Yeah.
And we were talking about these issues and working with guys therapeutically in that sort of context.
Mm.
And coming back to the issue, so I knew we were going to do this.
It's all right. It's a nice conversation. I like a free range conversation.
It's great, isn't it? How does that, do you think, this understanding, this broader understanding, because you're a broader person with a broader understanding,
Yeah.
with lots of intelligence and lots of learning, and
Yeah.
you teach other, well, you do, you're in a job that pays you
It
to
always just
share.
makes me feel like someone's describing somebody else, but go on.
It's the truth. It's a factual truth. You're not a professor by accident.
No,
You're a professor because you have
I
those.
did it to myself on purpose.
Yeah, I know. There's something wrong with you. First, you become a nurse, and then you become a professor. Had you learned your lesson? Seriously.